How's it hanging, YouTubes? Peter here, your Ginger Jody Geek. Welcome to Boys and the Toys, and today I'm joined by my co-hosts. James, how you doing?
Ew, what's up?
I love that little ew. It just brings a smile to me face.
Ew,
I might have to record that. That'll be like the alarm clock in the morning. Ew.
Ew. That's how I wake up. Fresh as a daisy.
Great to see you, mate. Great to see you.
You too, man.
What an annoying way to wake up.
All right, well, I could just have your dulcet tones instead, Ben, couldn't I? You know what I mean?
There is that, you see.
Luke, how you doing?
Ayo!
No, it doesn't work.
No, it's worse.
I instantly regretted it the minute I did it.
How are
I'm
you
doing
doing?
very well, thank you. Looking forward to this one.
Good, good. Ben, that's not a milkshake. What are you drinking?
Flavoured water is
Are you
the
ill?
tipple of choice. Yes, I am.
How are you
Physically
feeling?
and mentally. Hi, everyone.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining again, chaps. This is our usual catch up to talk a little bit about action figures and toys and all that like. We've got 2 people watching, which is tremendous. I think I'm one of them, so that's marvelous. Evening, Fuzzy. Nice to see you, mate. Fuzzy, I haven't posted your comics from the other night yet. I'll do that as soon as we're finished. I do apologise. Poor show.
Bloody terrible.
Terrible. So, hi up, GP. So, guys, tonight we're doing the usual catch-up about figures. We're going to talk a little bit about what we've picked up recently, a little bit about what's hot in the news, and we're also going to focus on NECA. So, let's just crack straight on. What are you laughing at?
NECA.
NECA! In me typical Geordie. Is that not how you say it? Hang on, then. Whoa. Taking the nick. Hang on. So, I say NECA. James, what do you say in your Irish twang?
NECA.
NECA. That sounds very
NECA.
nice.
NECA.
I don't know now. You got me questioning it. NECA.
NECA. Ben?
NECA.
Oh, very posh. Very posh. I like that. NECA. Okie dokie, guys. So this is our NECA focus show. So just before we crack on, just in case anybody's watching that hasn't met me before, Peter, my channel over on YouTube is TripleG Comics. Do a lot of toy unboxings, a lot of comic book unboxings, and a couple of live shows. This being one of them, and of course, What If, which is a show that the 4 of us do together. Ben, tell a little bit about you.
A little bit about me.
Sorry, did I stun you there? Well, a little bit about your show, your channel.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. I'm the attention-seeking geek, and it's all things geeky, so everything from kind of movie, TV show reviews, you know, if they're comic book themed or of that nature. I'm a horror fan, so there's some horror stuff popping up on there from time to time. Lots of figure reviews, and yes, a very topical comic book video has just gone live on there as well.
Tremendous. And next we'll have James.
Yeah, so as will be evident by my choices of figures to show today, I'm a big PlayStation guy. So my channel, I do a lot of video game reviews and kind of some since I love being on these kind of things so much, I've done a few live shows lately, things like that. So kind of gaming focus, but you know.
And you're doing your podcast thing as well, aren't you? Your Last of Us.
Yeah, so I have a kind of bi-monthly, whenever there's kind of big news drops on the series, I do a show called Firefly Chats. It's a Last of Us focused podcast, yeah.
Tremendous. And last we'll have Luke.
Yeah, so Hydra Collectibles, where we let our geek flag fly, and much like the rest of the lads here, it is all comic book and toy themed content. So some of which is a little bit controversial, especially my latest video, but we'll get into that a bit later.
Yes, you've upset the internet today. To be fair, Luke, all of the news was about that bloody Will Smith thing, and now it's all about you. So that's taken the attention off a little bit, hasn't it? That's nice. Right, chaps. So today we're going to focus on NECA, and that's how I'm saying it. Just deal with it. So we're going to focus on NECA, and hi, MJ. So not obviously MJ, he's dead. So we're going to focus on NECA, and Luke, you're going to lead that.
We have weird vibes today, lads.
I'm tired. What can I say? So, Luke, you're taking the lead on NECA. I have put some of your images up, so just tell us when you want to move along. They're in no particular order, just images of your choice.
Yeah, so the images are probably just for after this brief little intro, as it were, to NECA as a company. So I guess many people don't know that NECA is actually it stands for something. So it's actually standing for National Entertainment Collectibles Association. They were founded in 1996, and they are based outside of New Jersey in the United States. For those of you who are, I wrote it all down. Just reading it. I don't know this off the top of my head. So yeah, they are a global distributor of licensed consumable products, with many products based on the world's most famous movies, comic books, and video games. In 2019, just before the pandemic, they actually acquired Loot Crate, and since then they have been releasing crates with very specific, unique figures that can only be got from those Loot Crates. Some of them are getting really pricey on the secondhand market. So if you can ever get them, the Loot Crates are relatively cheap. So it's well worth picking them up, even if it's not your thing and you just want to sell it on and make a bit of profit. So yeah, a lot of people, when it comes to NECA, have a problem with the quality control. And we hear about this an awful lot within the toy community. People saying, oh, they're rubbish, they break, they're not durable, they're not like real toys. And yeah, okay, they're not real toys. These aren't the sort of thing that you would give to your children. These are articulated statues. They are figurines, and ones that us adult collectors have really desperately wanted all of our lives. They are so amazingly well sculpted. So in my time of collecting NECA, which has been a number of years now, I haven't had any of these issues. However, a lot of people complain about stiff joints, which snap off when you try to move them. They have problems with the paint application, and then they have a problem with missing parts. Now, like I say, I've only had one of these things even remotely occur, and that was my Shredder from Turtles figure actually arrived with a piece of his armor missing. However, I contacted the shop that I purchased it from. They just replaced it, and they dealt with NECA on their end, and it wasn't an issue. So I really don't understand why people have this upset and this beef with NECA about the quality control, because it's never really that much of a problem. So NECA figures are certainly a premium and luxury item, and with that, it does come an expense. These are expensive toys. There's no other way to look at it. You could go into a retail shop, buy something at retail for like 20 odd pounds, 15, 20 odd pounds. NECA is going to set you back something 40, 60, whatever, like sky's the limit. All does depend on which line you purchased and whether or not you get it new or if you have to get it from the secondhand market. Now, finding NECA in the UK is extremely difficult. You have to go to these specialized stores. However, you can actually go to NECA International, their UK website. And I don't know if it's just during this pandemic time. I don't know if it's anything to do with the Brexit thing or anything like that. But recently, I have not been charged any import fees on any of my NECA products. Whether or not that changes in the future, I do not know. So that's pretty much my little brief rundown on NECA. Despite the fact that these are so expensive, despite the fact that these are premium toys, I myself really love army building some of these. So if Peter can just throw up some of the pictures of some of my collection. Here I have my turtles, and yeah, I mean the Foot Clan alone, perfect army builder. The pizza aliens, you can see I've got 2 of them there with a 3rd on the way. I just absolutely love these, and like I say, they aren't cheap. These are expensive toys, but they look fantastic when you throw them together like this. Peter, if you could just go to the next slide.
Yeah, and I just to interrupt you, sorry.
Next slide, please.
Next slide, please. Yeah. Oh, hang on, we've lost someone. Has someone booted James?
I didn't say delete James. I said next slide.
Not me.
Wasn't me. I don't think it was me. I was just going to say it might be worth you at some point as well mentioning some of these fantastic dioramas you've got set up, because they are tremendous.
Yeah. So the cartoon one that you can see is actually the NECA diorama. That's the NECA Street View. They actually done 2 of these. The first one was actually they've done 3. The first one was a turtle themed diorama for the 1990s movie. And because that was so successful, I think that was a convention exclusive. They actually released this one to the public, which is just the general street level. the background at the top is a nighttime sky, but if you reverse it round the opposite way, you can actually have a daytime skyline. So that's pretty cool. You can, swap and change them. These do fit perfectly when you line them up together. So you can have multiples of these all lined up, and it just makes the street view look perfect. And then recently they've done an animated version of this diorama. So it's exactly the same build, but it's just got a more animated look to it. And there's a few more accessories that they added. That is really hard to come by. If you then look over at the other image for the 1990s, this is one of 7, that's right, 7 different dioramas that I have bought from Badger Dio on Instagram. And Corinne Andrews does amazing work, and you can find her on Instagram, and there is links there to her eBay store where she puts up these various dioramas. And I know that Ben, for example, has purchased one of these himself. So I highly recommend that you guys go and check out that
they
work.
are tremendous, aren't they? The detail in them is fantastic. So it might, I know you guys know her quite well. It might be worth trying to get her on one episode just to talk about diorama building.
I have no idea what she looks like. I don't she doesn't post pictures of herself, and I don't know if she would even be willing to show that on camera.
What if she's a diorama? Like, what if her head is just a small diorama building?
Moving on. Yeah.
So like I say about the army building, so this is my probably my favorite of the army builds, because I knew right away as soon as we had the Raphael and Casey Jones pack, I knew that I wanted to recreate this scene, and I just had to try and get hold of this many foot soldiers. And obviously we got the April O'Neil as an exclusive. It's not the best figure of April O'Neil, I have to be honest. The knee joints look awful, but you can't really see it in that setup, so I'm happy. I really do love this idea. Yeah. I was fortunate enough to get a number of these foot soldiers myself when they were released in the 2-pack form. And then I found one person on Facebook Marketplace getting rid of like another 6 figures. So in total, I think I've got 12 of them.
Wow, because they're not cheap figures, as you said earlier. No. Excellent.
So then we got my other 2 franchises. These 2 from NECA are much older than anything that is currently out. These have existed for many years. The Gremlins are actually making their way back. I don't know how or why, but I'm really happy about it. These cost an absolute fortune on the secondhand market. And now that they're coming back, not so much. So it's kind of a bittersweet when it comes to this, because I'm hoping that we get the other characters that I am missing, like, for example, the vegetable gremlin. However, I'm a little concerned that literally overnight, my collection lost all value. If I was ever going to sell them, which I have no intention to, I have lost a lot of money there because NECA are bringing them back. Yeah. Finally, here we have the Planet of the Apes and the Planet of the Apes Classics. And yeah, these are probably my all-time favorite NECA figures, and it's so disappointing that they axed the line and that it's no longer available. These are really hard to come by on the second-hand market.
I've never seen them ones before, look.
No, they are very old. Old. And they're actually in there. So my Human Tailor figurine is actually from the Medicom series. Right. So it's not actually a NECA product. But yeah, the apes are all from NECA.
I think you've got one last image.
Oh, yes. So this was the very last of the Planet of the Apes stuff, which they released when Dawn of the Apes came out, the new Andy Serkis live-action movies. I love this. That Maurice figure, the orangutan, is so incredibly detailed. There is something that NECA do surprisingly well, and it's this type of fur, like sculpt into the plastic. With the Turtles, Secret of the Ooze characters, they've done Toka and Raza, and Raza has a very similar texture to the fur. And I'm really hoping that the Alf figure that they've recently showcased is going to be very much the same. It's all brown fur, but it looks amazing.
Looks tremendous. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Luke. That was a really interesting canter through NECA and the various figures they've got. So what we tend to do now in the show is we each show either some recent pickups or some NECA figures from our own collections. So, Ben, shall we start with you? I'll make you big.
Is that your photo? Because there's a timestamp in the bottom that says like 2007. Is that just a personal photo that you've put letters on a fridge or something?
Yeah, that's mine. In preparation for this show in 2007.
Yes, show and tell. Are you going to put pictures up for me?
Oh, I thought you were showing and tell the figures you've got from NECA.
Yeah, I sent you some pictures, didn't I? Let me hold on.
Which pictures did you show us?
I couldn't be asked to get them all out, to be honest. That's why I sent pictures.
You sent pictures of stuff for the news, didn't you?
There's some figures. No. I sent pictures. There's no point in the debate now, is there? I'll get them out. So
just take your time, Ben. Don't worry about it.
And I did a big mad dash when I got home with 10 minutes
We're
spare. I
hemorrhaging
better get
viewers
everything.
as your fanny on.
Unbelievable.
I've got the turtles. Okay, so I mean, obviously, Luke's just shown some great images, but we'll get my favourite turtle out, which is of course Mikey. And you can just look at that. My camera's rubbish, but this figure still looks awesome despite that. So yeah. And
Ben, is there any chance that anybody could see more information about those turtle figures anywhere?
Oh yeah, of course. You could see a full review over on my channel, Attention Seeking Geek.
That's good to know. Thank you.
And so if you watch this channel regularly, rather than just tuning in for the competitions, you would have seen our recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle What If, and I sported a mask. Now, what you might not realize is that Casey Jones mask is actually a NECA product. This is a NECA mask. So there you go. What else have I got? NECA. Of course, I've got the Universal Monsters range. So this is my Frankie. I also have a Mummy and Wolfman, which again you can see a full review of over on my channel. But there he is.
They're stunning figures, mind, aren't they? They are really special. Those ones, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I'm very, very fond of them actually. So yeah, and I've kind of ended up sort of building displays around them. I got my Trick or Treat Studios Frankenstein's monster mask, and yeah, I've also got if you can see that, the used canister, which again is another NECA product. And I think that's maybe not spoken about a lot as well, as the kind of soiree that NECA sometimes take into the life-size replica world.
Yeah.
And I think when they do it, it's always very well priced, I think. But the product is good. Like that mask it feels more like a resin than a plastic. And the used canister is just a really nice kind of heavy plastic.
Yeah.
It feels good quality, and perfect for a cosplayer like myself. I know that they've got a couple of batarangs, and I think they've got a grappling gun now and things as well. So yeah, very cool.
Tremendous. I love that ooze canister. I thought that was something you and Luke had made yourselves, because I know you've both had similar ones. I didn't realize it was something you could buy.
Yeah, and it comes with ooze as well.
Do you know what?
Of course, removed.
Yeah.
Do you know what surprised me most about doing this little bit of research about NECA is that I didn't realize they're only a team of 40 people. Like it's a very small company when you think about how big they are and how much like global projects they create.
I thought they were kind of one of the big companies. I thought they were kind of interesting. James, what have you got to show with?
We did Hot Toys, and I showed a Nathan Drake and a Kratos. So I thought, for variety's sake, I'll show a Nathan Drake and a Kratos. Because NECA does in fact have the license for many PlayStation franchises. So yeah, Nathan Drake, not from Uncharted 3, Uncharted 4. I also have a sealed one of these as well. Face sculpt is pretty good, I think. It's got some accessories. There's the rope. The rope on the side that comes with another rope that you can actually swing him from if you want to tie him to something. So he's like actually swinging in the air, and then comes with a bandolier with like a AK-47 and stuff. Am I frozen on your screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Nice.
There we go. Yeah. And then Kratos. So yeah, from the same game as well. So it's like a lot of the accessories exactly the same as even the head is on the back. And then this is actually part of a 2-pack with his son Atreus, where we were speaking of like flimsiness. Luke, the bow and arrow string just came off of. So yeah, those are a couple of the PlayStation ones. Another one, and I completely forgot that this was a NECA one. Like in my head for this show, I was like, okay, I have this, I have that, but I've completely forgot. I got Spyro. This is
Yes,
a NECA
tremendous.
figure.
I love
thought
that
I'd
figure.
represent today with my
Very
fantastic. Like, I mean, like,
Yeah, that's cool.
You couldn't ask for more perfect like sculpting and paint job for this.
I mean,
figure.
that looks straight out the video game, doesn't it?
Doesn't
It
yeah,
looks
yeah, it's
tremendous.
incredible. And Spyro's a franchise I have it's very near and dear to my heart. It's kind of what got me into PlayStation and everything. Unfortunately, now owned by Xbox.
Yeah.
since they acquired Activision a couple of months ago. So
NECA did the Crash Bandicoot as well on the same line,
they
right?
did, yeah. There is
love
like
that.
5 or 6 versions of it, and I just haven't decided yet which one to get. So
Let's get on that. Ulubuga.
yeah, I know. There's still a couple of there's still a couple available in my Forbidden Planet anyway. So like I'm not in a hurry. So outside of that, I got a couple of horror is a big thing for NECA. So I got an Ash. This was released before the like chainsaw version from Evil Dead 2.
Okay.
So that's why I don't have that version. But I might like when I get that one, swap the head for the evil Ash, and do some kind of like posing with them. And then I got a Freddy as well, which I'm 50% sure is a knockoff, just because it was like free shipping from China and it was slightly cheaper. It's like I don't know. And then I also have a Jason from Friday the 13th Part 6, and again, for instance, the leg came off of it. And now I just can't find it. I think I put it in a basket or something. And I don't know where it is. But they sent me another one. And I just decided to keep that one sealed. So that's my
What you should do is glue the leg back on and then have him like strapped underwater. Now that he's an expendable figure, make like get a tank and have him like underwater.
Yeah.
He was he was so excited by my prospect.
Where's he gone this time? He's gone straight away to do it.
He's gone to buy a tank.
Right. Bloody hell. Right. Okay.
It's going to be one of those nights.
It is, isn't it? So for me, I've got, as you can see behind us, the turtles, 2-foot soldiers, and the shredder. As Ben said, absolutely love the turtle figures. They are tremendous, really, really high quality. Go check out Ben's review on those because they really are a very good quality figure. I've also picked up more recent figures from the line of Defenders of the Earth. Yeah. So Defenders of the Earth is an old cartoon from when I was younger. Never realised that Stan Lee wrote the theme song to that.
I bet Ben and James don't even know who these people are.
Oh, for God's
sake.
No,
I haven't got a clue.
Flash bloody Gordon? Flash Gordon?
As in Flash,
He saved every one of us. Yeah, that's the fella.
Yeah, I know the song.
Yeah, so that's Flash Gordon. The articulation on these figures is tremendous. Interestingly, what Luke was saying about sometimes about attention to detail on this particular figure, which I do love, you can see he's got obviously a red jumpsuit and black boots, but the joints are red. So I don't know if you can see that. It just makes it look a bit silly. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't have taken much, I don't think, to.
But do you know what? All the other companies do the same. So like Hasbro with their Marvel Legends, they have all the pins and joints still absolutely. In different colors. And it's such a shame that they do that. That being said, though, the articulation on NECA has got good over the last couple of years.
These are really nice figures. Ben, who's that?
I know that because I had a friend who cosplayed it once, the Phantom.
Exactly.
And it's Billy Zane, isn't it?
It's Billy Zane. Quite right. So this is a stunning figure. I love this one. Comes with his little creature from the cartoon. I can't remember what that's called, but bit of a weird thing. But yeah, so that's the Phantom. The best one out of the original wave of the figures for me, and I just love this, is Ming. I think it's an absolutely stunning figure. The detail on him is phenomenal. This is a posable cape.
Game
changer.
Price,
it is. And for the price you're paying for him, I think this is a brilliant figure. So really, really impressed with that. Ben, you mentioned earlier props. Pick this up. This is a NECA Batarang, folding Batarang, to go on my bat belt when I'm in Newcastle, obviously. So yeah, again, tremendous little prop. And it's got a bit of weight to it as well. It's a nice little thing to have. And that was only, I think, around about 20, 25 quid, which I think is pretty good for a life-size prop.
You want to get that on the wall, mate. Mounted on the wall.
Yeah. The actual stand it comes with is horrible. So, yeah, I'm going to get that on the wall somewhere. I wanted to mention this because I think this is one of the earlier figures. And someone in the comments mentioned some of the quality, I think, with some of the NECA figures. This is a Predator from Predator 2. This is the wounded version. And again, it's that kind of attention to detail. So it comes with good stuff like the clip-on blade thing, but it doesn't really fit properly. The whole purpose of getting this one was because I wanted the cut-off arm, but you can put an arm back in it and it's still got the peg hole in it, which just makes it kind of defeats the purpose because that looks stupid. I'd literally just getting it out the box and one of his blades snapped off and he's stiff as out. His joints are all very, very hard. So whilst it looks quite nice stood on the shelf, I don't know. I was a bit disappointed with this one.
So I always either do one of two things with my figures when I first get them out of the packet. I either blast them with a hairdryer in order to loosen that glue on the joints, or I soak them in hot water for like literally 4 or 5 seconds and then lift them out. Now, obviously, if they're wearing fabricated clothing, you don't want to do the water, so the hairdryer is the next best thing. But yeah, there's nothing worse than breaking your own figure.
Yeah.
See, it's something that comes up in the 1/6 world as well with the hair dryer thing, and I just don't think we should be needing to do that. Like that's not my job. Like my job is to buy a figure, enjoy the figure, play with it, display it, whatever. I shouldn't need to, be loosening joints and using technical stuff to get bits sorted.
I agree, Ben. And as you know, I've probably more recently than you guys getting into these figures and things like that. It terrifies me, particularly with the hot toys when you've paid 200, 250 quid for a toy, when you're trying to rive the hands off and things like that. It freaks us out. I wanted to mention just 2 other things before we move on. I watched someone's video recently. I can't remember whose it was. It probably phased out. And they were talking about these acrylic NECA stands. So I picked up a few packs of these, and these are brilliant. So I'd recommend people get these. These are clear stands for your NECA figures, and they look really smart. So I like them.
I would say with them though, they're a little bit loose on my turtles, but then on my Universal Monsters, it's a nice fit. So yeah, just be cautious that it will fit differently for different periods of NECA history, I imagine.
And it's interesting you say that because I've noticed that straight away. It fits really well on me Defenders of the Earth, but I couldn't get it on the Predator one, which was interesting.
Yeah. So maybe they're made for those newer figures rather than the older ones.
My biggest concern is that you can't put the figures too close together when they're on these stands. Like you would have to overlap them, and especially with the diorama setup, or even if you have multiple tiers, you're not going to be able to get them that close. So that's the only negative that I can see. Did you just shoot your load?
I've just shot myself in the friggin' eye nearly. Just a second, chaps.
Content. Can you imagine if he had blinded himself?
Clip
I'm
that.
back. I'm back in the room. Yeah, no, I agree, Luke. I agree because I've got the tiered stands as you have, and I couldn't fit them on with the big circular bases. What's cracking on with James here? He's in the comments, but he's not on the stream. I'm not sure what he's doing. James, have you left with? Is there anybody there? I just wanted to show you this last pickup purely because I've unpacked it today when I'm getting home from work. This is a one for the older collectors, shall we say. Anybody know what that is? Anybody in the comments know who he is?
Mate, I have no idea half of the figures that you own.
Does that help?
No.
This is the bit that shot me eye before. How about that? Huh? You haven't got a clue, have you?
No. Did you just break it?
No, it comes apart. Anybody in the comments know who this is? So I've picked this up to go with 3 other figures I've literally just bought over the last few days, which were quite expensive, I have to say. This is Dr. Terror from a series called The Centurions, which is an old cartoon and comic series. So I've picked him up, and I've got the 3 Centurions to go with him, so I'll be doing a video on that.
See, I know the Centurions, but I don't know him.
Yeah. And these, for older figures, are quite nice. They're quite solid, decent articulation on them. So that's Dr. Terror. Just picked him up recently. Okie dokie. So, anything else anybody wants to show before we move on to the news section?
I literally just kind of had a play with this in my garden. So I bought. So it comes just as wood. So I've given it a spray, and then I've just literally added some white card behind, and this potentially will serve as a backdrop for my First Order Stormtrooper figure,
Nice.
little Death Star wall. But yeah, I'm pretty sort of. I think it's sort of like for a tenner, you know, it's kind of come out all right.
Looks very cool.
So yeah, I'm gonna find out how I can kind of get that permanently, you know, stood behind potentially.
Very good. James, what the shit is going on with you tonight? What are you playing at?
Peter, you shot yourself in the eye, and I was to see
nearly. Hey, worst
You can
incident
watch
with
it
a
on the
toy.
rewind.
I did watch it, but I couldn't be here to make fun of you for it.
Worst incident with a toy was Christmas Day many years ago. I bought my son a Molyneux, plastic horrendous Molyneux, and in the top of it you have a blue lightning thing.
Yeah.
And Christmas morning unwrapping, and I said to him, "Be careful with that." And he pressed the button, shot us right in the eyeball. Horrific.
Peter's the
Bought his
reason
son.
why the Boba Fett
Bought his
figure
son a
doesn't have the
Molyneux.
rocket launcher.
Exactly. Right, chaps. So let's. Oh, what have I done there?
It's 2007.
What's your issue?
Look at the random. It just a random timestamp in the bottom. I don't know where you get your images. It's like you don't use Google Images.
Pornhub,
Like
normally. Is that not?
no.
What are they
Moving
showing?
on. So, breaking news. So, each of you have
Breaking.
sent a few images of different bits and bobs that have happened in the toy world over the last few weeks since we last spoke. So, we'll start off with this. Benjamin.
Well,
There's a couple of images of this, I think.
Yes, indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the Queen Studios in art 1/6 scale Joker from The Dark Knight. This has taken the 1/6 scale world by absolute storm. Everybody's talking about it, and I think everybody's ordered it. So, as you can see, the level, the kind of quality it's really a step up. So Hot Toys did, of course, make some Jokers, and there were kind of DX Jokers and things like that. But over the years, they've not aged tremendously. I think it's fair to say, and people were kind of crying out for a new, high quality, you know, modern sculpt version of Heath Ledger's Joker, and out of nowhere, well, not out of nowhere, but Queen Studios, who are known for making 1/4 scale statues or like life-size busts and stuff, they've got an incredible kind of reputation for creating realism using like silicon from like medical grade silicon and punched hair and stuff like that. But yeah, they've opened up this new kind of leg to their business called In Art. And this is the first figure in the range. There was a kind of teaser that had silhouettes, and it looks like the other figures that are coming are, I think it's a Legolas, a Gandalf, a Neo. Can't remember. Help me out here, James. Can you remember what the other ones were in that teaser image?
No.
Legolas, Gandalf. Yeah, anyway, those are some examples. But so you can see here, just the detail on the hands alone is ridiculous, and it's innovative as well. You know, because it looks like we're getting that joint connection further up the arm, so it looks seamless. You know, from the wrists, because on a lot of figures, I think it is the illusion is ruined sometimes by that wrist peg. So yeah, the image that you see here is actually one of the ones that has the rooted hair. So the options are you could have pre-ordered the standard sculpted hair, which is the one I've gone for. And price-wise, it was about $250, which is similar to Hot Toys anyway. So they've come in at a really competitive kind of rate, I think, around that. Then there was a double pack for the sculpted, which includes that diorama of the prison cell and stuff. But you basically get two different figures, different head sculpts, and the diorama base. And then the third option was to have a double rooted hair, and that was about £1,000. But if you think about it, if you're splitting that, if you go Dutch with someone, like that's 500 each for a rooted hair, potentially kind of historic figure, potentially a game-changing kind of Grail-like figure. I don't know. I mean, I haven't done it, but I'm just trying to warrant it for the people that have.
I mean, that is stunning, isn't it?
The thing that impressed me so much is there's like a little clip you can see of them squeezing the face, and it's just like real, like it looks real,
Yeah.
How the face, like the flesh, like it's crazy. Yeah,
it's mad.
Tremendous.
It's mad. So yeah,
we'll look forward to seeing that unboxed on your channel, Ben.
Yes. That's going to be big. I might even do a live, of it maybe.
What's
I
the
wonder
release
how
date
that's
on
going to hold up with like the silicon
Here we
skin,
go.
because I've seen
Piss on
figures
my
before
parade
that have
time.
this stuff. I've seen figures like this before. I think the Walking Dead figures done a similar thing with like the Michonne pet walkers, where it was like a rubbery skin on them. But I'm always a bit concerned when it comes to action figures and their longevity. Like that's why I tend to go for more solid plastics rather than the rubber and stuff like that you can get. Same for fabricated clothing and all the rest of it when it starts to deteriorate. We mentioned that with the Hot Toys. So I'm curious to see how these age over time.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Ben, I think you had the KX Enforcer as well.
Yeah, so a little bit of controversy around this in the one sip scale world. They've Hot Toys were in a position where it's like they really needed to respond to the hype around Queen Studios and in art. And what they did, the first announcement is essentially a reissue, repackaged as a different figure when it's not. It's literally K2 SO, but with battle damage and with a new diorama base. Don't get me wrong, the paintwork looks amazing with the battle damage, and the diorama base is very nice. You got the, it's from the Night of 1,000 Tears and that kind of, but it's a reissue essentially, and I think it's irked some people. That being said, K2 is one of those sought after figures. It's one of the ones that I regret never kind of being able to pick up or picking up when it originally came out. Again, when you're kind of late to a collection or whatever, and you look at these historical figures, you're like, damn, because it's then just not achievable. So it is a way to kind of, but then at the same time, for someone like me who wants K2, that's not K2. So it's like, I'm not getting K2, and I'm not really interested in having just a random ass KX, Enforcer droid. So
Hot Toys do this quite often then, because they've done the same with a number of the Endgame figures, haven't they? They've done a battle damaged Thanos, a battle damaged Iron Man.
Yeah.
And there's minimal change to it, I guess. There is some, obviously, in the battle damaged Iron Man in particular. But I guess it's a pretty good way of putting back out similar figures using the same accessories. And
it's easy money. It's easy money for them, and they will sell, and people will pick up. Like I've already heard on different streams and that people are like, yeah, I'm picking up free so that I can do a display and stuff. So, it is easy money for them. But it's potentially a lazy response, I'd say.
Yeah.
So
and also it's like, why have we not got Cad Bane yet? Like of all the bloody characters to
who's that?
Release from the Boba Fett series, like we've already got Fennec Shand and Boba coming, but like how? Give me Cad Bane now.
Sometimes doing a repainted release like these is the only way a company are allowed to do a re-release of a figure. So like for example, we were talking about the NECA Turtles earlier on, and already they're not allowed to make any more of the previous versions that they've already done, which is why they're moving on to things like the Secret of the Ooze Turtles for the movie line, and why they're doing different paint decos for the animated series. So for example, the ones that I have on my display are from the 2017 San Diego Comic-Con, and they were an exclusive. So the next wave that went to the public had to be different.
Interesting stuff. Now, I don't recognize any of these characters, so that means, James, it must be an image from you.
So I, unlike Ben, kept my looking forward to on topic and picked a NECA figure that is coming out.
Well done. You see, James, if you hadn't kept dropping in and out of the show, that would have got you some points, but... Oh, he's froze.
Just us then. I don't know who these characters are either.
He's actually froze, isn't he?
I think they're from the Last of Us. If I had to guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's from The Last of Us. Look, we'll just plow on. Ben's gone. James is froze.
We can come back. We can
this
come
is
back.
freaking
Let's get it
chaos.
moving.
Oh, look, you see, we can talk about some proper stuff.
So
this is both mine and Luke's picks, really. So, Luke, do you want to talk through some of these? We've got 2 slides of this.
yeah, I mean, I love that we're finally getting these figures at retail. I'm a big fan of the Masters of the Universe Classic Collection, which was a mail-away collection. However, it was before my time. You know, I wasn't fully aware of them being available, of them being out, and so I missed out on those mail-away figures. And once they were gone, and they're really hard to come by and really expensive on the second-hand market. However, these figures from the Masterverse line, yes, okay, there is a little bit of difference in quality. You know, they're never going to be the classic version, but my God, are they good. And I am so excited to get more of these. The first wave that they've already done has been amazing. I know that you've recently done a couple of videos on your unboxings, Peter. And they do fit perfectly with those classic figures. I've held up my latest He-Man figure to my King Randor and Queen figure, and they look fine. They look great together. So I don't need to buy the whole line because I do have figures from other lines that do fit. So it's not something that I'm going to go all in on. However, I'm really excited for what they've got coming.
I mean, I love, as you know, He-Man, and I love these figures and all the rest of it. Fuzzy, we should have you on here, mate. This is chaos. Yeah, I love these figures, but the thing that upsets me every time I see these images is I thought I was pretty cued in with He-Man, but I don't know who some of these characters are, and I thought I would. I know I messaged you about one of them.
So the other thing to bear in mind here is that we're looking at 3 separate lines in these images. So these are listed as heroes and villains. So you have the Masterverse line, you have the Origins line, and then you have the CGI Netflix show. So don't think that looking at these images that you're just looking at one line. This is a combination of 3 lines, all available in store at the same time with all different types of articulation and design.
I guess, just wanted to show these last images here. The close-up images of the battle damage He-Man and the She-Ra figure. For me, they just sung.
They finally gave him a beard. Proper barbarian style. I am so excited for this figure. You know, I might even buy a couple of them just to do some head swaps. Like, this looks fantastic. The one that I'm most excited about myself is that Montana figure. So that is all new sculpting detail. That is a whole new tool. They're never going to be able to use those parts on any other figure. That is solely Montana. And I love it. I love that they're willing to put that much money into the tooling to create this figure as a one-off, because a lot of these figures all share similar parts and can be used to create other things. So that one just by itself, the minute I saw it, I can't wait.
I've got an original of that, so I'm keen to pick that one up just to stand it side by side.
I've got the original from childhood. It's actually probably my only He-Man figure from childhood that I still have. And then I've got the classics version, which was the classics that I had to have. Him and Battle Cat were the superior out of the set, in my opinion.
Tremendous. Now, reminders, Luke. The Elephant Man, is he called Hose Nose?
Snout Spout or Spout Snout.
Classic. I mean,
so that's a She-Ra character, and he is a fireman.
Naturally.
Helps put out fires. I actually had one of those as well. The problem with that figure is that he has a bendable snout. And on the classic version, which didn't squirt water like the original did, that snout used to tear and rip because it was like very rubbery material. So actually, upon selling him, someone actually said to me, "Oh, is there any tears or rips?" And unfortunately, there was. But I was honest. I sent photos, and the guy was more than happy to still take it off my hands.
So some great figures. I'll definitely be picking up the Barbarian He-Man and the She-Ra. I think they're superb. Very nice figures. And I wanted to mention these two. So it's can you believe 40 years of He-Man? I mean, that's incredible. So there's this anniversary figure coming out. It looks absolutely stunning.
Might be incredible for you, old man, but
So
it's an amazing figure.
Do you know what I really want from this line, and maybe even for this anniversary edition? They need to give us a cringer. Like we get Battle Cat all the time. We
you're
need a cringer.
Battle Cat obsessed, aren't you?
I've
Look,
only got
if
the one
anybody wanted
cringer.
to learn anything about Battle Cat, is there anywhere they could go to learn about Battle Cat?
Not yet, but it's coming. The video was actually due today before I swapped it for this controversial one.
Yeah.
But it is in the works.
I think for me, the images of this figure that we've seen unboxed really sing to us, because it looks like they've got him posed with the sword held aloft and I'm kind of looking at it and shouting, "I have the power," which I've not been able to achieve on some of my figures. So really
I'm torn. I'm torn with this particular figure. The longer I looked at it, the more I noticed what parts they've used. This is just the Masterverse body. So the one that you unboxed in your video, this is just that body with a different head sculpt. Now, at least they've given us the axe. Do you know what I mean? But other than that, it is only a different head sculpt. Yeah. Now, I love it. I think it's great. But I think if I buy this one, it might stay in the box.
Yeah. Nice. And I also wanted to mention this last one. This is by NECA. This is the Last Ronin armored figure based on the Last Ronin comic book series, which I've still not read, but I will read once it's complete. I want to read it in one volume, I think. I just love the look. I love the fact you get all the different weapons with him. And I think he'll look very, very cool next to with turtle figures. So
Peter, you have an amazing issue 1 copy of this book, and you're telling me you haven't even read it.
Well, no, it's sealed in plastic. How can you read it? No, I've got about 5 copies of issue 1 as well. I wanted to... Ben's released a video, which we'll talk about a little bit today, about regular comic book collecting, I guess. My collecting habits are that I like to get a volume. I like a complete story. I cannot, because I'm very old and I might die before the end of the series, I cannot be chewed with having to wait a couple of months for a full story arc. So I like to read it in one blast. Okay, Ben.
Yeah. What a donut. Todd McFarlane has sadly kind of made a bit of a show of himself over on another YouTuber's page, Shartimus Prime, who's one of the biggest probably toy YouTubers out there. He got an interview with Todd and kind of starts off relatively kind of, standard, I guess. And then Todd kind of proceeds to put his foot in it, I think, with some of the things that he says. So I'll let people kind of go and find the video and see it word for word. But essentially what he says, he basically starts off with saying how much of a struggle it is to sell like female superhero characters and stuff. Which part of me is like, well, yeah, it's a bit bollocks as well, really, because there are statistics around that actually show the opposite for certain characters. And then he kind of says that about like them being in the boy aisle, like they shouldn't be in the boy aisle, God forbid. And then he kind of proceeds to basically insinuate, or not even insinuate, like he pretty much says that if a little boy is playing with a little girl's character, then they're probably going to be a psychopath. Like it's incredibly offensive.
Is it not serial killer? He says
serial killer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Even worse. I mean, I'm a psychopath, but I'm not a serial killer. Serial killer. Yes. Yeah. Wow. So I really wanted to flag it up on this show because it really did kind of get under my skin and offend me. And I think I want people to realize that not all toy fans or comic book fans or kind of geeks in general kind of have this misogynistic kind of homophobic, I guess, connotations there as well. So yeah, I wanted to kind of basically come on tonight and say, Todd, shut up.
Absolutely. And so when Ben mentioned this to her a little while ago, I don't know if the rest of the guys who watched it yet, I went on just to see if it was as bad as as Ben was saying. And I'll cut it short for you guys. It's about 30 odd minutes into it, I think, if you want to fast forward to that point. And I have to be honest, I started off thinking, oh yeah, this is a bit cringy, but he's the expert. He sells a lot of toys. Maybe he's right. And then he started going into like a weird rant about, well, he acted out, didn't he? About a man buying toys for his son, and it was bizarre. Yeah. And then he says this thing about serial killers or something. It was
I personally love female figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I don't think that constitutes.
It's got lipstick.
It's got full-on breasts.
A very strange thing for him. I mean, when Todd found out that we were doing this short night, he asked if he could come on and defend himself, and obviously we said,
of course,
no,
yeah,
we're not putting up with that shit. Do you know what I mean? So,
you're not invited, Todd.
Yeah.
So I never liked him, so I'm not surprised.
Hello. Yeah. This just got juicy. To be honest, he's one of those kind of creators that you put on a pedestal, but I never actually have taken the time to listen to interviews and stuff like that. He's always just been, Todd McFarlane, Spider-Man, artist supreme, and toy maker. And yeah, it was quite revealing to kind of obviously see those opinions come out, sadly.
Yeah.
But it's the theme of this week, isn't it? That your heroes might be a bit of a knob.
Speaking of that, loving this action figure.
What a segue that was.
So I spotted this on Instagram the other day and I just loved it. I mean, let's not go into the ins and outs of it. It was a crazy situation. Do you think it's going to impact on the figures and things like that he sells? Or do you think it's... Because I know, Ben, you were being eyed up by your Will Smith figure, weren't you?
So guys, I've got this up for sale. If you drop me a message, and I'll let you know.
So from an investment point of view, this is a really good lesson for someone. And I think if you take away from like not Will Smith and all that, but like sports people, for example, if you collect sports memorabilia, don't invest so much money in people that are still currently alive, because they've got a lot of time to mess things up. If you're gonna put that sort of money into these sort of collectibles, you want to make sure that they can't do anything during their lifetime that means that this all goes down the drain.
Did you just advise the internet not to buy toys of people that are still alive? Just to clarify,
I was talking about sports memorabilia.
Okay.
But no, it's interesting when people look at it, because obviously we have collectors and we have investors, and they're two separate types of people who gather and collect this stuff. So it's just an interesting point that your heroes can upset you, and things can go downhill really quick.
I'd just like to get in before my computer reboots again. The one I always think about is people who get tattoos of people. Like there are people who walk around now with like Bill Cosby tattoos or
if Jim ever does anything,
exactly. So like
but Ben, you could change that into the Hulk.
Yeah.
But you'll always know, though. That's the thing.
I think interestingly,
I think GP, the mantra for tonight, if you're not dead, I'm not buying. I like that. Luke dropping the bombs is here again.
I think interestingly, like, because I actually like, whilst it's funny and I think I made a meme of it to promote tonight, even and it lends itself to humor. I'm actually quite like I was quite sickened by it. I'm very saddened by it, and I'm very shocked at how little kind of repercussion there was, kind of both immediately and in the days that have followed. And I think part of me was kind of like, I want to get rid of my figure. I don't want Will Smith stood in my cabinet. But I think I've tried to kind of have a word with myself and think, look, you've got to kind of separate sometimes the work from the character, that that they are or that they were playing, sort of thing. But at the same time, you know, would I want a 1/6 scale Jimmy Savile still in my collection? Probably not. So I don't know where that line is. To be
Still
fair.
not managed to sell that one, have you? That's
No, it's still sat there like.
On
Get
another
out.
point, though,
Malcolm.
every single like screen grab of this moment is pure gold. Like they're both so photogenic. Like
You're right. You are right, James. And,
like
you know,
that's like an action pose. Like
yeah,
how
and we've put
you know?
this image on, and you know it is a bit of this image is a bit of humor, but I think Ben's right. The danger is that we do just turn this into a bit of a funny moment and forget how serious and stupid it actually was. The guy was assaulted. Do you know what I mean? And nothing happened. Anyway, moving
Give
on.
him an Oscar. That was his punishment.
Yeah.
An Oscar and a round of applause.
So, stuff coming up on what channels, guys. We'll just fly through this. Luke has destroyed the internet.
Yes, so this
Okay.
is my latest video. Went out today. A little bit controversial. It's whether or not us fans, us geeks, should learn to let go. Whether or not we have to pass over our hobbies to the next generation.
I mean, Luke, I am going to stop you there and just remind you we've spent an hour talking about dolls. And,
I start
toys.
the video. I start the video saying I'm part of the problem. You know, this is
Definitely.
this is not my thoughts and my opinions. This is me just looking at the broader question. I don't agree with all of this stuff, but I think it is worth discussing and looking at.
Absolutely. And it's an interesting video. I really would encourage people to go and have a look. And it's getting some good views, I think, at the moment, Luke, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's picking up speed, so I'm quite happy so far.
So it's obviously a topic people are interested in. What's that? Well, it's Wednesday. I've got a video coming out where I literally am unboxing a set of comics that I had no idea what they were when I was unboxing them. Not a bloody clue. And I still don't really know what they are, but never mind.
That PNG is pure gold of you. I love
it. Ben.
Yeah, so these mugs will be back on my screen this time on Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. BST for the first of a weekly live show where we will dissect each episode of Disney Plus's Moon Knight. So yeah, quite exciting. I plan to kind of do the same for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and the Miss Marvel series, and you know, unless I don't want to anymore, and then I'll just stop. But I am excited for this. So yeah, it's going to be a good little discussion.
Hearing good things about it, mate, so far.
It's been positive. I've actually avoided reading anything at all, and I've got no connection to the character which is very rare for me in a Marvel property. So I'm kind of trying to go in as blind as possible just to kind of experience it as best as I can. So yeah, that I'll be watching that tomorrow and then chatting about it Thursday with you guys.
I'm just looking forward to that one.
Yes, and then this dropped this afternoon, which, there's my clickbait title for you. It's not that exciting, but I've recently sold a ton of books from my collection, pretty much all of my collection, and it's a little video explaining why I made that decision. So you can find that over on the Attention Seeking Geek.
And we've lost James again.
He's gone to watch that video.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Allow it.
And again, I've watched that video today, Ben. It's very interesting. Well worth going to watch.
Thanks, mate.
Not next week, is it? No, 28th of April.
Next month.
Next month, we've got our What If Thor. Really looking forward to this one. As you guys know, Thor's my favorite character, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's come up with. I've done my idea, and I was 100% confident in it, and then I read an old comic book that I'd gotten in a mystery pack and saw that the idea had been done before. So rather irritated by that, but never mind. We'll go with it. So looking forward to that one. And then next for Boys and the Toys, we've got Playmates, which is on the 31st of May. Playmates, who did some of the original Turtle toys, some Star Trek toys and things like that. And I think I'm taking the lead on that one. So that's on the 31st of May, and we'll be talking all about Playmates and talking about whatever our recent pickups are and all that kind of jazz as well. Right. That's whack. So we seem to have managed to finish James off. He's not coming back. So
He's been on the stream for at least 5 minutes. Which
he
is,
has, which is nice. And
Yeah,
we're
well,
just hitting around about the hour mark, so that's just a nice time. Just want to say a big thank you to everybody in the chat. We're usual steadfast guys turning up. Fuzzy GP, Connie's popped in, and all that. And James T Keegan's in the chat all the time because obviously he's not on the show. So really appreciate you guys watching. Chaps, always love talking to you. It's been great fun as usual. Thank you very much. And I guess we'll end it there and say good night and see you all on Thursday night on Ben's channel. Catch you later.
See you there, guys. Bye for now.